Jason.
Thanks, Jackie. So welcome to everyone who's joining us live, and welcome to those watching back in our support site. For those watching back in the support site, please note that we are in May 2024. So we're in May 2024. So the dates we're about to share with you apply to where we're at currently. So the topic is boosting Tribute engagement and increasing income, and we're going to be quite specific on the focus, and the focus is going to be on virtual gifts. So the learning objective for this webinar is to know that virtual gifts exist. So if that's your takeaway, then that's brilliant. We'll show you how you could. We'll talk through how you can use them. So the next slide is a clever colleague came up with this and they kindly shared it with me, and I thought I'd share it this morning. So Tribute with additional interactions beyond the first few default contributions have higher donation value. So I'll just pause there because the default contributions are default thoughts. So on each page that's created, there are a couple of default thoughts, and optimum partners can change the wording in those thoughts. You might even, in those thoughts, be signposting to in-house bereavement support or to grief chat if you use that. Okay, so following on from that, on average, the value increases by 3 times after just 6 interactions. Donations continue to increase the more interactions there are until it hits around 20, and then it seems to level out. So the takeaway from this is that interactions, there's a correlation with the donation amount. So interactions, contributions are good. And there's lots of functionality within a Tribute page that allows supporters to interact. One of them, which you might be quite familiar with, is lighting a candle. So I know that some charities will go in and light a candle to say thank you and to kind of share the impact that the support could have on them. So candles are quite a common one. Some people will add stories and thoughts. Some people will upload pictures, videos, and music. And there's also kind of journaling functionality. And interestingly, there's been quite a lot of talk on the kind of bereavement landscape about the value, the power of journaling. So and that could make quite an interesting kind of social media post for you to put together. So we're going to focus on gifts, as I said at the beginning. Amazing graphic designer Maggie shared this with me, and I don't have her permission to share this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So she wrote in the chat, gifts are one of my favorite things that we do. If you read the messages, that they are to the person who has died. Candles and the accompanying message are to bereaved people. So there's a difference there. So gifts are to the person who's died, and a candle is a message of condolence quite often to the family. This is why we like them to replicate real gifts, personal things like a mince pie or teddy bear or a sign that says in the garden. They're very personal and a wonderful connection. And then she goes on to say, I dislike generic images having a logo slapped on. That's not a gift. There's no pleasure in receiving it and no joy in giving it. So I think it's a balance of honouring the meaning of a gift and bringing in the charity. So I thought that was a really good kind of takeaway from her experience of putting together gifts. And I think this is over to you now, Jackie.
It is over to me. Thank you, Jason. And thanks for highlighting those gift features, especially to any partners that are new to Much Loved and you're just getting to grips with the platform and its functionality. This is a whole section that we're always developing, so it's definitely worth putting on your radar. And it's always good to have a reminder for those of our existing partners who's been with us for a long time. So I know that you guys always like to plan ahead regarding communications for your supporters in journeys. So I'm just going to share with you a calendar of events for the next year so that you can see some of the gift imagery that we're going to be adding to your partner area, and more importantly, when they're going to be made available to you. So if you're doing that piece of work where you want to schedule in a communication, these dates might help you form part of that journey for your supporters. So when the gift imagery is added to your partner area, it will be with its own folder, and it'll be clearly labelled, so you'll know this is for Father's Day 2024, and you'll see the little imageries and the things that you can add. So you could add on behalf of your charities a little Father's Day super dad, little mug on any tributes that you know that the deceased were a father, and you can schedule that in if you're an Optimum partner, and Jason will give a little demo of how to do that later on. But there's lots of things you can do, and nothing is hard. It's all quite simple. It can all be done from your partner area, or if you are an Advantage partner, you can do it from the front of the homepage of the tribute. Sorry, I'm still admitting people. So sharing these dates and that the gifts are available to your tribute guardians is a great way to keep connected with them. But it also, hopefully, that your tribute guardian will then interact again with their tribute and hopefully share with their family and friends. So that then hopefully does that interaction, which will get to that goal that Jason was saying about, that we know our research shows the more interaction, the more value the donation is. So it's just a quick and easy way of helping you to achieve that. So Jason, next slide, please. So Christmas, 13th of November. I haven't put the date here because I hope you all know when Christmas Day is. But also these gifts can be all over the festive period. So they're more like festive gifts to go across from middle of November right through to New Year's Eve. So they will be released in a little folder clearly labelled for you. Next slide, Jason. So Valentine's Day. So again, not perhaps a huge one that people would think to put on a tribute, but it's there for you if you want to let your supporters know that we also do a Valentine's gift. Next one, Jason. So Mothering Sunday, so we know just from the Mothering Sunday that's just gone that there was a real uptick of gifts that were left on tributes to mums. So it really did increase this year, and I'd imagine it's going to increase year on year once your supporters know that they can do this sort of thing. Lots of floral tributes or a card or something like that. So next year, Mother's Day is on the 30th of March, and we'll release them on the 17th. Don't worry too much about these dates because we will let you know when they're going to be released nearer the time. But if you do want to make a note of them, that's when they are. Next one, Jason, is Easter. So again, Easter seems to be getting bigger and bigger each year, and we saw lots of Easter cards being left on tributes this year as well, which is one of the reasons that we just want to let you all know that they're there, because obviously tribute guardians are finding them. So if you can, let all your supporters know, this is something for them. Interestingly, Easter next year is the 20th of April. We will release them on the 4th of April. So by the 4th of April this year, Easter was long done and dusted. So let's hope next Easter will be a bit more sunshine. We can but hope. Next slide, please, Jason. So Father's Day for 2025 will be 15th of June, and they'll be released on the 30th of May. Now, the imagery that you see here and the little gifts that you see here of what we know for this year, but Maggie, our designer, will no doubt have added a couple of more extra little gifts, something different for your supporters to choose from. So, we will add to these gifts all the time. So next slide, Jason. And Christmas again, so for just going back, and again there'll be some different icons by the time it's Christmas 2025. Don't forget as well that Much Loved also released that Christmas candle. So I know we're talking about virtual gifts, but when you're thinking of doing your communication to your tribute guardians, you know, you can give them a choice of the Christmas candle. That is hugely popular. Lots of tributes are lit with this Christmas candle. And we've had feedback from supporters that say that in a way it's like them buying a gift, because they support the charity that was close to their loved one, or you know, you might have helped their loved one in their hour of need. And in a way, this is buying a gift but making a donation to your charity. So it's worth, you know, thinking about. Obviously donations are optional, it's up to the supporter, but most of your tribute guardians, when they're thinking of adding these gifts, they will leave a donation with them as well. So next slide, Jason, please. So this is where I think, Jason, you're going to do your little demo.
Thank you. Thanks for the prompt. Okay, so this is a made-up Optimum partner area. So this functionality is available to Optimum partners. I wanted to show you how to add a gift. So it's a case of going to your Optimum partner area and clicking on more details and scrolling down. So we've both mentioned candles. So the functionality is the same, really. So in the same way that you'd add a candle, you can add a gift, but let's do a gift. So I'm going to click on manage gifts, and I can see there's already one here. And if needed, we could go in and edit that. But you click on the blue button here, add a gift, and choose a gift. So I'm going to go for a butterfly. I quite like things like butterflies because it reminds me of this idea of magical thinking in grief, whereby you kind of see a robin that reminds you of, well, a robin, when I see a robin, reminds me of my granddad. So that continuation of, so magical thinking is a real kind of theory that is sometimes used therapeutically and has a different kind of cultural attentiveness to the whole construct around magical thinking, which is really interesting. So scheduling gifts. So in your tribute report, you should be able to see the date of death. So you could schedule this gift to be added on the anniversary of the death, and it might be that you write something like the following, and in true Blue Peter style, I've put this together. So I often advocate this idea of on the anniversary of the death, saying the name of the persons and having a message a bit like this. And I'm not saying this is the message that you should use, but it gives you an idea of what you might put together. So this time last year, you were thinking of us. Now we're thinking of you as you remembered John 1 year on, with all good wishes from Jason and everyone at ACSS Demo Charity. And so you then click on Add Gift. And it's as straightforward as that. So, and this doesn't have to be a labor intensive thing. You can kind of schedule, say, once a week to go in and then schedule gifts to be added in the future. Does that sound about right, Jackie? Have I covered that?
Yeah, no, that's good. What I was going to say is, for our Advantage partners, obviously you haven't got access to the tribute settings, but you can still add the gift from the homepage of the tribute. Just literally, you know, go to the gift section and add it and put a message from your charity. Now, you're not going to be able to schedule if you want to add the messages, but if you diarise forward, maybe it's an anniversary of a particular family that do a lot of fundraising for you, or you've got a connection with them, then actually, you know, you could put a little diary note and just go on and pop that. And it's almost like a magic moment for those supporters, that they know that, you know, the charity are thinking about them at this time. So, you know, there's lots of little different options you can do to make a connection with that supporter, make them feel valued, but also just using some simple functionality that you've got access to. So I hope that helps explain to Advantage partners as well, just how you can easily add the gifts too.
Thanks, Jackie. And then, so we've spoken about adding gifts or candles on anniversaries, but I think there's a great opportunity for you to talk about gifts, candles in comms, especially to tribute Guardians. I think they're quite an easy thing to mention on social media as well. But jumping back a bit, I remember Cystic Fibrosis Trust used to speak quite a lot about interacting with tribute pages in their newsletters, so that there would quite often always be a mention. So it's possible to do. And any case study sharing examples of added gifts, I think, is a nice thing as well to be looking for. Okay, and then we're going to show you some examples of bespoke virtual gifts that partners have put together. And so these are Optimum partners only.
Okay. So, as Jason has just highlighted some of the ideas that you can use gifts, and I'm going to share some examples of what our Optimum partners are already doing, just so that you can get a feeling of what can be done. But before I do, I want to get your little creative brains ticking along. And I just wondered if you could think, while I'm sharing what's already out there, some ideas that you might think of connecting with your supporters using this gift functionality, especially to increase engagement. And then if we can share ideas at this forum after I've shared the ideas, it'd be great just to see what other little creative or ideas might be around. So for an example, an idea I thought maybe if you were planning an in-memory campaign and you got some imagery that went with that campaign, could that be adapted for a bespoke folder, so that when that supporter that you've already contacted about in-memory and the in-memory campaign, if they did then add a gift to their tribute, they would see that branding, and it almost be joined up like touch points where that support comes across in your charity. It just follows through on that journey for them. So that was just one idea. And again, with the Advantage partners, maybe you could just think of, diarising when you know that you've got an anniversary of a death, that you could just pop on a little a gift there. Just little different things of interaction that wouldn't add to your workload too much, but you could just have an idea. So get your brains ticking and pop in the chat, and let's see if we've got some different ideas to what we can come up with. Okay, so just next slide, Jason, just to show a few things of what's already being done. Okay, so this is just using their imagery. You probably can guess which the charities are. It's very engaging and it's very lovely. You can put your own little line, what your folder heading needs to be. So lots of neat little ideas. And I think that's a great idea from the Stroke Association, where it's just a thank you, and they add this little gift to their tributes. Little things like this really make the difference and really do make your supporters and tribute guardians feel valued, and hopefully they'll carry on going and carry on being fundraisers for you, or repeat donors at those anniversary or events such as Christmas and everything. So some really, really lovely ideas there, where some of those charities have followed through the branding that they use in their other areas of in memory, or leaving a gift in a will, and they pull it all together. Okay, Jason.
Super, thanks. So I think my colleague Jane kindly copied and pasted the address for the spec that we have put together for bespoke virtual gifts, and this is available for Optimum partners. So if you're an Optimum partner, there's no additional cost for adding your own gallery of gifts. So Optimum partners, you can do this. There's no additional cost. Because it is a case of your graphic designer putting together, and the page is quite explicit on what we need from you. So Jane, I think Jane's popped that in the chat. And
Yeah,
then
that's
super. And then before we come to your questions that Jackie invited you to, or your comments to, before we go back to that, I just wanted to highlight our next webinar, and hopefully Jane can pop the address for this, or you can scan the QR code, which is on increasing your tribute fund community by embracing the open platform events model. So if you've got colleagues in events, if you can invite them to engage with this webinar, that would be helpful. But should we go to the questions, Jackie?
yeah. So we have got some really lovely ideas of what you creative lot are going to get up to. So holding an event in memory of their loved ones. Virtual memory leaves, that's a good one. I don't think I've seen those. Scheduling again, they already do Christmas candles, but like the idea of a gift. Sally, yeah, a model of a aircraft would be a great page header for your charity. Jason's covered off that it doesn't cost our Optimum partners anything else.
Oh, that's that. I just remembered. It will take us around 15 working days. So in terms of managing expectations, I always tend to say to my partners, 15 working days for this kind of thing.
And don't forget, you can add to your folder. So, you know, year in down the line, you might have a brand refresh, introduce some new images or logos. So we can add that to your bespoke folder. So it's definitely definitely worth you know, it's there forever. Wildflower meadow, that's a great one as well at the nature reserves. Yeah, so there's some great little ideas there of different ways that you can use what you already got within your charity. And obviously you'll probably come up with some other ideas as well. The purpose of this webinar was just to really highlight that gift functionality, something easy, quick, something that's not going to be too time consuming, letting you know the calendar of events so that if you are already planning your stewardship journeys, your supporter journeys for next year, is there an opportunity just to build those in, just so you know what that communication can look like? So it's just giving you some ideas for the bigger picture and to help building on the activating those tribute guardians to keep visiting their tribute funds, especially if we can really get them to increase the value of their donations, which we've got the stats showing now that by the third interaction, the value of the donation does actually increase. So I hope that all that information helps. Is there any more questions or anything else you'd like? Let me just check.
That looks about it, really.
So would the slides be able to send out so you can share with our comms people? Yeah, this webinar will be on the charity support site, probably in a couple of days, certainly by early next week. And then you can just share the webinar with all your colleagues, definitely your comms teams, because they often know what they're planning ahead of perhaps you guys do. And if there's any way that they can join up, that'd be great as well.
There's actually an accompanying article to this webinar that was published a while back, which is on the support site, I think. I don't know if Jane, if you can find it, one that Jutta and Ali kindly put together.
So somebody's here is asking about dedication pages. So they're slightly different to adding a gift to a tribute. So the gift is personal to that person who's passed away that the tribute is in memory of. With the dedication page, obviously we have the banner for whatever season it is, and we have lots of banners that you can choose from your partner area. So there can be a Christmas, Easter. Those banners are already there for you to select. I know you're asking for about a bauble on a tree. So with dedication pages, there is development work going on with dedication pages. I'm not sure if that's one of the things they're looking at, but as soon as we've taken dedication pages to the next level, we'll definitely be communicating it to all our partners. Does that answer that question about dedication pages, Ruth? Gifts being video content, so that sounds a really good idea. So maybe, I don't know, but I will certainly pass that over to our developer. They're always looking for new things to do. Yeah, so I hope that has given everybody a great oversight of our gift functionality. It's getting used more and more. Gifts are now being added to tributes, not far off how we see our candles being added. So this is only going to grow. So that's why we're keen that you know about it, and you know about the calendar of events, and also that you know that we will keep those folders up to date. Maggie's always coming up with some great little gift ideas. So if there's no more questions, I think we can end it there then, and all get back to
Super.
your jobs.
Brilliant.